Hello everyone. Our next lesson is about the sum of a geometrical series. Now again we have a certain formula for the sum of n terms. We will later get to the sigma notation, but it comes to that the sum will be equal to a times r to the power of k minus 1 over r minus 1. This is for a geometrical series. Remember, a series is we have pluses between the terms and the sequence where we have semicolons. If we look at this means that we need to get the sum of n minus 1 plus 1 terms. The a is our first term, the r is our constant ratio, and n is the number of terms. Again, you need to know the proof, so learn it, know it for all your tests and the exams. We start by writing all the terms as a series. Series has pluses between them. Then we're going to multiply r with every term. Now, if you multiply a with r, you get AR. I deliberately wrote it under the same term. And if we take AR and we multiply that with this r, we get AR squared. The reason for writing it underneath the like terms is because we're going to say equation 2 minus equation 1. So it will be r to the r is n minus Sn. And if we minus this with nothing, we get the AR to the power of n. This minus, and you get 0. 0, 0, 0. And 0 minus a gives you minus a. So if we minus the second equation and the first equation, we get a to the power of r minus a. Now we take Sn out as a common factor and we take a out as a common factor. And then we're going to divide with this bracket to get Sn alone. And there we have our formula for the sum of n terms in a geometrical series. Let's look at some examples. Our first example. If n is 3, a is negative 2, r is 2, calculate the sum of 3 terms. We always start with the formula. It will be a divided by 1 a to the power a times r to the power of n minus 1 over r minus 1. Now we substitute everything. N is 3. So the sum of 3 terms will be a is negative 2, r is 2 to the power of n is 3, minus 1 over r is 2 minus 1. And then we get the sum of 3 terms will be negative 14. Let's look at a second example. Now I give you the series and I want you to get the sum of the first 10 terms. So 10 is my n, 2 is my a, and I need to get the r. R is 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 4 is also 2. So R it is a constant ratio, and we're definitely working with a geometrical series. The sum of n terms equals a times r to the power of n minus 1 over r minus 1. We want the sum of 10 terms. A is 2 times r is 2 to the power of 10 minus 1 over r is 2 minus 1. The sum of 10 terms will therefore be 2046. Example number 3. I have a series up until n terms. I know what the sum of all these terms are. It's 3069. Now calculate n. So calculate how many terms did I add to get this. We first need to get the r. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 12 divided by 6 is 2. So my r is 2 and my a is 3. We start with the formula. It's a times r to the power of n minus 1 over r minus 1. This is my answer for the sum of n terms. So it's 3069 equals a is 3, r is 2 to the power of n minus 1 over r is 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, so I have 3069 equals 3 times 2 to the power of n minus 1. Now I'm going to divide with the 3, and I get 1023 equals 2 to the power of n minus 1. Then take this minus 1 over to the left hand side, and you have 1024 equals 2 to the power of n. If you press shift fact of 1024, you'll get 2 to the power of 10 equals 2 to the power of n. The bases are the same, therefore the exponents must be the same. So n is 10. How many terms add up to 3069? 10 terms. Therefore, the sum of 10 terms will be 3069. Example number 4. Here I give you a formula for the sum of n terms, and I want to know what is term 1. Now this 1 stands in the place of n, so n is 1. Therefore, Sn will be the sum of one term is 64 minus 2 to the power of 6 minus 1, and that will be 32. If the sum of one term is 32, it means therefore that term 1 is 32. Now they ask you, what is term 12? Now there's a certain formula that you need to know. If you want a certain term, let's say term 12, you calculate the sum of 12 terms and you subtract the sum of 11 terms. Then you'll get term 12's value. So for term 12, we need to get the sum of 12 terms minus the sum of 11 terms. So this will be 64 minus 2 to the power of 6 minus 12 minus 64 minus 2 to the power of 6 minus 11. And if you type that in, you will get the answer of 1 over 64. Now they want the first three terms. We already know what term 1 is. It's 32. Term 2 will be the sum of two terms minus the sum of one term. That will be 64 minus 2 to the power of 6 minus 2 minus the sum of 1, and we calculated that as 32. So term 2 will be 16. In order to get term 3, we can do a similar sum like this, or we can just calculate what r is. R will be 16 over 32, and that will be a half. So to get term 3, we must simply just multiply term 2 with r. Term 2 has a value of 16 times r has a value of a half, and that will give you 8. So my third term will be 8.